Hi, in this class, we will cover the first three layers of the OSI model: application layer, presentation layer, and session layer. We will see how these layers function and what they do with our data. So let's first understand the application layer. The application layer, layer 7, is the top layer of both the OSI and TCP/IP models. It provides the interface between the applications we use to communicate and the underlying network. Application layer protocols are used to exchange data between programs running on the source and destination hosts. There are many application layer protocols, and new protocols are always being developed. Functionality of the TCP/IP application layer protocols fit roughly into the framework of the top three layers of the OSI model, that are application layer, presentation layer, and session layers. There are few common application protocols: DNS, or Domain Name Service; HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol; SMTP, or Simple Mail Transfer Protocol; Telnet, or Terminal Emulation Protocol; FTP, or File Transfer Protocol. Let's understand more about these. DNS, or Domain Name Service Protocol, is used to resolve internet names to IP addresses. HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is used to transfer files that make up the web pages of the World Wide Web. SMTP, or Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, is used for the transfer of mail messages and attachments. Telnet, or Terminal Emulation Protocol, is used to provide remote access to servers and networking devices. FTP, or File Transfer Protocol, is used for interactive file transfer between systems. Application layer uses protocols that are implemented within applications and services. Applications provide people a way to create messages. Application layer services establish an interface to the network. Protocols provide the rules and formats that govern how data is treated. When discussing an application like Telnet and FTP, we could be referring to the application, the service, or the protocol. Within the application layer, there are two forms of software programs or processes that provide access to the network. The first one is applications, and second one is services. Let's understand what they are. The first is network-aware applications. Applications are the software programs used by people to communicate over the network. They implement the application layer protocols and are able to communicate directly with the lower layers of the protocol stack. You use these applications in your day-to-day job. You use a web browser to surf the internet, email client, which you usually use for checking the emails. And there are a lot more applications which we use in day-to-day tasks. Other programs may need the assistance of application layer services to use network resources, such as file transfer and Telnet. These services are the programs that build an interface with the network and prepare the data for transfer. You can generally check the application services in the task manager. Since we have used server and client words most of the time in our video series, let's see what is the server-client model. Here, a device requesting some information from the server is called client. The device responding to the request is called server. The client begins the exchange by requesting data from the server. A server responds by sending one or more streams of data to the client. In addition to the actual data transfer, this exchange may also require control information, such as user authentication and the identification of a data file which needs to be transferred. A server is usually a computer that contains information to be shared with many clients. The server could be for any application, and they are usually called web server, email server, file or database server, and applications server. However, some servers may require user account information for authentication, and it may vary on the permissions assigned to the user. For example, if you request to upload data to the file server, you may have permission to write to your individual folder, but you do not have permission to read other files on the site. Let me explain an application layer protocol function. Let's take this application as an example. FTP was developed to allow for file transfers between a client and a server. It used to upload and download the files from a server running with FTP service. Usually a client initiates a TCP control connection with an FTP server using port number 21. This connection remains open until the user quits the FTP application. The TCP connection for the FTP port number 21 includes a username and password which is sent over TCP port number 21. This state information significantly reduces the total number of sessions on the server. However, for each file transferred, TCP opens and closes a TCP data connection on port number 20. Let me take one more example for Telnet service. Telnet provides a standard method of emulating text-based terminal devices over the data network. It allows a user to remotely access another device. The remote device could be a host, switch, router, server, and etc. A connection using Telnet application is called a virtual terminal session. Telnet uses software to create a virtual device that provides the same features of a terminal session with access to the server using command line interface. There are many Telnet clients available to get the terminal access for the devices. For example, PuTTY, TerraTerm, Hyperterminal, and Secure CRT. Or there are many more. The Telnet application supports user authentication but does not encrypt data. All data exchanged during a Telnet session is transported as plain text, and that's the drawback or weak point of this protocol. Secure Shell, or SSH, protocol offers an alternate protocol and secure method for server access. It supports stronger authentication encrypts while transporting the data over the network. I think I have said enough for application layer. Let's move ahead to the next layer of the OSI model, which is the presentation layer. There is not much information to learn about the presentation layer. However, I will try to explain as much information as I have. As you know, the presentation layer is a sixth layer of the OSI model, and it has three primary functions. First, coding and conversion of application layer data to ensure that data from the source device can be interpreted by the destination device. Second, compression of the data in a manner that can be decompressed by the destination device. Third, encryption of the data for transmission and the decryption of data upon receipt by the destination. There are some examples of compression and coding formats for a picture or image. First, graphics interchange format, or GIF. Second, joint photographic experts group, or JPEG. Third, tagged image file format, or TIFF. Let's move ahead and learn about the session layer, which is the fifth layer of the OSI model. The session layer creates and maintains dialogues between source and destination applications. It handles the exchange of information like initiate dialogues, keep the session active between the peers, and restart sessions that are disturbed or idle for a long period of time. Most applications, like web browsers or email clients, have incorporated functionality of the OSI Layer 5, Layer 6 and Layer 7. I think